Dr. Hanson, hi, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to talk with you about this important topic.
And I'm honored that you're here, and I'm excited as well because you specialize in sports performance. So I'm wondering, why did you decide to introduce EFT into school to start with?
Well, I want to help people in general excel, so perform great, enjoy, have fun, and then also evolve. It's part of my core philosophy of what I'm after in whatever setting that I'm in. Whether I'm in school, I was a tenured college professor and taught at that level, and have worked in schools all the way through all the different levels. And so why is because it works. It's a super powerful tool. It's unusual. It's a little weird. That's why it's not more popular among, I get called a sports psychologist. So I have a PhD in sports psychology. And I'm just constantly looking for how to help people perform better and enjoy it more. And tapping really is, I would still rank it as my top tool. Like I work with people that have a throwing anxiety, like they can't throw. And I can't help them unless much. If we're not tapping because it's Miggy. Tapping talks to Miggy, the amygdala. The brain's a little more complicated than this, but it's Miggy and cortex. And Tex is a passenger on the bus. Miggy's driving the bus. So helping school kids, whether they're playing in PE or they're playing sports or they're in the classroom, being able to access their talent. To me, I help people access their talent. And what stuff gets in the way, emotions, negative thoughts, and beliefs, you can clear it out. It's the best tool. I interviewed Derek Jeter, who's a hot player, and just revered. It's like, well, why were you so good and even better in the playoffs, like in the pressure situation? He said, it's more fun. And so that's a perception thing. He perceives it as fun, where other people, oh my gosh. And it's the same with, oh, it's a test. You contract or expand. So I want to help people expand. And that's why I would do it. It's the best tool because it talks to Miggy. Miggy speaks, delta waves and the neurochemical changes that happen in the brain. And so that's why. How I do it is the biggest thing I would say is to be an advocate yourself. I've had a lot of benefits seeing it in other people. That's how I got into it first. Work with a player who was super frustrated after a game. And I go, what are you feeling? Frustration, anger. It's like, okay. And I tapped. My first time I tapped. I was sitting there reading Gary Craig's manual, seeing these results, and it's like, no way. And then I did it. It's like, dang it, I got a PhD in sports psychology. And I could teach that to someone in 2 minutes. That would be better tool than what I learned going through 9 years of college. So the biggest thing would be to do it yourself so that you become an advocate. And then it's easier to share. Then it's really just a matter of breaking through. It's easier with an individual. So you might have someone, it's like, hey, Sarah, come here, try this. So picking people off of the herd can be safer. And then it's really just a matter of doing it with the group and just saying, hey, think of something like I'll be doing it tomorrow night with the softball team. Last year didn't go the way they wanted. And so there's stuff there that if you don't clear it, it's like putting chocolate sauce on something bad like dog poop. I use the example of my dog goes to the bathroom on my carpet. It's better to clean it up and then think positive than to just think positive and I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, so, I love that. I love that because so many people, like I even got a question, but why don't we just go straight to the positive? And so, I think that's a great example of like, well, you first clear up, what needs to be cleared up in the physical world. Why would it be the same in the emotional world? We first clear out what needs to be cleared out. And then there's space to then bring in more of that positive that you want to bring in. But we have to do that clearing emotionally, not just in our physical space.
Like, hey, why do we have to do the dishes? We're going to use them again tomorrow. Can't we just leave the scraps and the crust on the plate? Like, well, you could. I mean, you could, but it's going to have an impact on tomorrow. And so we clean it off and I'll teach them just like this. I'll just go, think of your thing, give it a number, and then top of your head, and then your eyebrow, side of the eye, under the eye. And then I can even skip to under the collarbone. And I like to go like that and get both sides. And then inhale, exhale, grab your wrist and say peace. Think of a happy thing. And then let it go. Blink your eyes a couple of times and count that as a tap lap. I call them tap laps. And then certainly you can use all the points, but in terms of just starting someone or starting a group, I use that. And obviously I keep doing it. So from a results standpoint, it's been great. I do emphasize that it's a tool. It's not a magic wand. It's not like you can, oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
And so you end up balancing expectations. I
Yeah.
teach it, here's a tool to help clear things out, but then also to add things in. A nice model that I use is clear. So tap and this, the game, this happened, a future event or a past event. And then second step is create. Now that I've cleared, create, then you ask the magic question, what would I like to have happen? Who do I want to be in that situation? So now that I've cleared, I create, and imagine this. Now the chocolate sauce comes in, and it's like, yeah, that. And then the last one I use is compete, but it can be connect. It's like, okay, so now I'm feeling good. That's who I want to be. I'm visualizing what I want to have happen, and I'm feeling it. And now compete, I want a Goldilocks. Goldilocks is a focus that's just the right amount. If you say, hey, just go have fun, might not be enough. Hey, do this, and this, and this, and this as you throw, or as you do, that can be too much. You find, okay, just right. What am I going to actually do in this segment of time? And off we go. So that's how I fit it into a bigger context of clear, create, compete.
Love it. And I'm curious, like in terms of results, could you share maybe some stories or some examples from coaching or from working with students in groups in school?
Yeah. So to finish that story of my first tap E, I guess you could call him, he went from a 7 or 8, couple laps. Now 0 to 10, 4. I was like, no way. But I was, of course, look cool because I'm Dr. Hanson, it's like, yeah, of course. And then I tapped some more, like 2 or 3 more laps. And then he kind of smiled. I go, well, what are you smiling at? He goes, that's kind of silly because, I had a hit in the game. It really wasn't a great call by the umpire. And, we play tomorrow. Okay, great. And my mind went kapoom, but I played it cool. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're welcome. See ya. And then it's like, that's unbelievable. And I've been a tapper ever since. So it's like, give it a go, try it. So there's that. I've got a lot of players that literally have a website, Yips Be Gone. And the yips is where like a catcher can't throw or a golfer can't putt, but you can have it on tests. You can have it on asking someone out to the dance. Anytime there's like an emotional block that's getting in the way of your performance, which is expressing yourself, your performance of your life, it's expressing what you desire, what do I want, and then being able to create that instead of being blocked. I've had people win championships and just really feel better. That a big result is just smiling and someone goes on, and a lot of times it shifts and they don't even really realize that they were down here and now they're living here. That whole effect of the results would be that I'm still doing it 20 years later. From that day forward, which really it was 2003, I just didn't believe it. I laughed. I was on a phone call with Gary Craig. He was teaching this class, and I hung up after like half of it. These people are coming on, oh yeah, I got so freed up, and it's this great result. I got happy, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then a couple of years later, a guy told me that he did it, and I said, yeah, and he got in my face. Then you haven't tried it. It's like, okay, dude, and that's where I got the manual, and that's the story. And so from then on, I set up a whole website, and I work with people on a problem. Sports psychology people send people to me because I've got a better tool. I was like, why don't you just tap? It's not that hard. I mean, there's lots to it. I'm spending my whole life. I was on this tapping 24-hour thing, and I'm sitting there taking notes on everyone until it was my turn to talk. So there's a lot to it, but it's also dropped it simple, and it can be as simple as that. Then you're probably better off. I feel better now than I did 10 seconds ago, having just done that. So it's really just having the courage to give it a go, do it yourself, grab a friend, your spouse, and just gradually work it out. And then off you go. Try it with some child in school. When I see kids here going to school, first day of school at the school in Texas where there was a shooting, it's like, whoa, those kids ought to be tapping at the start of every class. That's going to leave a mark, right? An emotional, like hyper vigilant. And how is he going to learn?
Yeah.
If he doesn't get that cleared out, turning trauma into wisdom, like, and that's the same, well, with anything, relationships, work, a ground ball you miss, it causes a contraction. If you're just building on that, it's the syrup on the poop thing.
Thanks so much for that. You've connected so many dots here in terms of the how to adapt it, to the sports area, where sometimes people can feel a bit like, oh, I'm a bit too cool for this. What is this? So we don't have to do all the points. We can sometimes skip these ones, which can feel a bit too much sometimes for someone maybe trying it out. So they can go here and go straight to this one. And calling the rounds laps, which is like, athlete talk. So it speaks their language and brings them in, rather than calling it, let's do another round. So yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up.
When people make mistakes in sports, a lot of times the tough guy coach will go, take a lap, Johnson, take a lap, because he's late or is this, that. It's like, no, it should be Johnson, take a lap. And he goes, okay.
Yes.
And do a tap lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything else? So that was that. But it's really would be more of what I said. Do it yourself. Grab someone. Let me show you this. So you start to build a little confidence. Watch your summit and listen to other people talk. Because as I read the Gary Craig manual, there were different examples. And the more examples, it starts to build the confidence. It works. It's just a matter of doing it. So you want to get little wins along the way, rather than saying, okay, I'm going to call a school assembly, have the whole school. You could, but then there's just so much possible resistance like this.
Yeah, exactly.
You can pick people off. That's how when I started with the New York Yankees, it's like, they're going to meet with the coaches, the whole, like the manager, the top people. Okay, well, can I meet with them individually first? I picked them off. Hey, why do you do this? What do you do? I didn't teach them tap, but I'm just saying. And then this guy. And then when we came together, I say, hey, this is what I know about you guys. And we were off to the races. Rather than taking on the whole, they were sitting there, New York Yankees, New York pinstripes. They would have been like, okay, PhD boy, you're going to tell me how to play baseball?
Yeah.
But you picked them off and it's like, why do you do this? What do you love about it? What's important? Tell me about a time you met with it. And so it'd be the same here. Just pick them off. It's like, hey, what's going on for you? Da, da, da. And then do the tapping like that would be one idea.
Yeah, because the tapping works, but if you've got resistance, then you're not going to be able to get there because the resistance is getting in the way. And so that's a really useful tip for preparing, a group to do some group tapping, to go one-to-one, build those relationships one-to-one, and have those individual breakthroughs. And then when the group comes together, the prep works there, the ground works there, for it to be a really meaningful experience where you can go straight into the tapping. So thank you for sharing that. That's really, really useful tip. Really appreciate it. And all of your
welcome.
Stories and experiences. It's something that I'll be sharing with fellow educators, PE teachers, sports psychologists as well, encouraging them to come see this video. How can we apply this to sports? How can we apply this to PE? Because a lot's been written in academics and tests and exams and tapping for that and research on that. So it's great to have you here sharing your wealth of experience these past 20 years of EFT for sports performance and bringing your expertise with sports psychology there into it. So thank you very much.
I feel like we're just getting warmed up. There's lots more, but you have to get started first. So we did that.